here at this company. As you can see, Tawanda with PTN, Petty Television News, and it's Black History Month here at this company. As you can see, the vibes are festive. The banners are up. The playlist is on. There is a Black Lives Matter sign positioned near the printer. Oddly, but not surprisingly, there are no Black employees present. Correction, there is one. They are a contractor. They do not receive benefits. They do not receive paid time off. They do not have a company email address.
However, asked to organize today's celebration. They selected the decorations. They coordinated the potluck. They were asked to create a short overview of Black history that would be uplifting and not too heavy. Also asked to explain the difference between culture and costume twice. The contractor prepared food, they answered questions, they smiled through comments like, I didn't know Black people ate this. They are currently eating last.
Their contract ends February 28th. Black History Month also ends February 28th. Management says the timing is coincidental. They also say they are committed to diversity. Reporting from a workplace where Blackness is celebrated, as long as it does not require permanence. I'm Tawanda, this is PTN.
Have you apologized to President Trump?
Look here, bitch, two can play that game. Have you apologized for what happened that day? For who you keep making space for? Have you apologized to Americans for gas being priced like it's imported from Mars? For groceries requiring a payment plan? For seniors cutting pills in half because insurance says survival is out of network? Have you apologized to mothers doing calculus and checkout lines? To families choosing between rent and insulin? People arguing with health insurance like it's a toxic ex? Have you apologized to communities watching ICE roll through like it's a clearance sale on dignity? To Black Americans listening while you flirt with dragging us backward like civil rights were a limited time offer? Have you apologized? No? Then shut the fuck up and get the fuck out.
We remember at the end of last year, the Trump administration put out a memo outlining that they were preparing to remove graduate nurses, so graduate nursing degrees from the list of professional degrees eligible for federally subsidized student loans. After an outcry from nurses across the country, the Trump administration, increasingly tone deaf and, completely off base, decided to issue a proposed rule which would make that change permanent, meaning that advanced practice nursing students like nurse practitioners, nurse midwives, nurse anesthetists would no longer be eligible for federal subsidized loans to reflect the true cost of their education, knowing full well that nurses are the ones paying out of pocket to be able to get their advanced degrees and provide exceptional care to the communities, including rural communities all across our country. So this is our chance to fight back, to make our voices heard, and to submit what's called a public comment. Now, in that public comment, it's really easy. You can do it on your phones right now, online, and make sure to tell the Trump administration how devastating the impact of this policy would be on healthcare affordability, on your ability to get the healthcare that you need. And if you're a nurse, make sure to talk about how this limits your ability to serve your patients. We can win this fight, but we need your voices. So you guys probably remember at the end of
peace and love, everybody, and welcome to Black Press USA's morning show, where we bring you the headlines and the culture. And at first, you have the culture from our very own co-host this morning, Jasmyne Cannick, journalist and political strategist. So, Jasmyne, before we get into Lauren Underwood's call to action, tell us about your alter ego.
Okay, well, I start off with good morning. So good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Yeah, I have an AI alter ego. Her name is Tawanda. We kind of look alike a little bit, but she is me. She is me when I can't be me in my regular life. She says the things and does the things that a lot of times my Gen X mind and my Gen X mouth and attitude really want to do. And she has a job like I do. She works for Petty Television News, and she's a really great reporter, and she takes her reporting very seriously. But yeah, she's me, and I created her about 4 or 5 months ago, just to cope with like Trump and the administration and all these, life changes and things that were bothering me. I just did it for me. And I didn't know she was going to end up being so popular. I love it. I think I have like, she has more followers than I do. And I don't even have that many. I think I have like 36,000. I think she has like 48,000 or 46,000.
And counting, and counting.
Yeah. So I'm super excited that people find her just as interesting and funny as I do. But one of the things that I really spent a lot of time in the past year doing was studying AI. And studying AI from a couple of different angles, and one of them was also videos. And I'm already a writer, so I can write scripts, and I'm already funny, at least in my head. So being able to incorporate AI and sort of not get left behind in that, because I know a lot of people, particularly in our generation, a little bit older, are really hesitant when it comes to AI and its capabilities. I actually find it really fascinating. And I think you just got to figure out a way to use it that helps benefit you and not erase you, right? So when I look at Tawanda, she definitely enhances me. I may not have slapped that woman, but seeing her do it made me feel like I did it. So I feel good. It helps my mental health.
No, but I think it's great that you leaned in and you didn't wait, because that happens to us a lot of times. We're always the last ones, which means we're not at the head of the line when the profits start spreading out.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to see this journey for you and, see the come up, because there's also a financial gain with doing these types of characters in this new technology that we find ourselves in.
I haven't found that yet.
You haven't?
I haven't found that yet, but hope maybe I will. That was not my intention when I started with Tawanda. But if it ends up going that way and I can retire early, hey, I will not be mad about it. I did it mostly for mental health reasons. Like I said, it's a bit cathartic looking at her say the things that I wish I could say to people sometimes, but I stop myself because I don't feel like going to county jail. Right. And so that is really why I did it. But yeah, like I said, I hear you. There are people that do these types of things that are able to generate income from it. I'm not one of them yet, but I hope to be. I
see that for you. I see that for you. Tell our viewers how they can follow or where they find Tawanda.
Oh yeah, sure. She is iamtawanda.ai on pretty much every platform. She's on TikTok, she's on Instagram, and she's on Facebook. So that's where you can find her, or you could just go to mine, Hello Jasmyne, and there's usually a link to her somewhere in one of my profiles. But I'm Tawanda. I took the name Tawanda from a character in Fried Green Tomatoes. I don't know if you remember that movie, Neil, but it's one of my favorite books, one of my favorite movies, and Tawanda was a really strong character that Kathy Bates, her character, identified with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Greer just dropped the link to Tawanda in the chat. So go ahead and follow Tawanda for sure. We also heard from Lauren Underwood, who was basically giving us a call to action to support students, to support nurses. And so just want to resell that from now until March 2nd. Rep Underwood is asking us to raise our voice and submit comments in opposition to what, the Department of Education and Trump is doing. And you can do that at federalregister.gov. And your key search is 2026 Reimagining and Improving Student Education. And I know, Jasmyne, for you were really big about call to action, civic participation, and that it goes beyond the ballot box on major elections, but on local elections and for things like this, like public comment. I don't think people understand how much power they have in a public comment or a written letter when it's done in masses. And that's also a part of civic participation, and sometimes just as important as voting.
So 2 short stories. One is my neighbor. I was talking to my neighbor recently about something. Oh, she was complaining to me about the fact that our trash bill went up. LADWP I mean, I'm almost paying more for trash than I am for my electricity these days.
I am too.
Right.
Like, yeah, I am
Yeah,
too.
so she was complaining about that, and I said, "Well, the time to complain, sis, was when they were soliciting public comment. You should have contacted your council member and said, "Don't vote to increase my rates." And she was like, "I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know this. I didn't know that." And I'm just like, "Yeah, okay." I go through, those are conversations I have with people all the time. You cannot depend on your mainstream news, your local news to tell you everything that's going on. Sometimes you have to take some initiative and get connected on your own. Follow your council member, follow your supervisor, follow your congressional member on your own, so you can sort of keep up with the things that are going on. Second story is last week I was listening to the radio. There was a story here in LA about how AI was used to generate over 20,000 letters of public comment to a water board here in Los Angeles. At the time, they did not know that the letters were not written by actual residents. It caused them to not go forward with the motion that they were getting ready to vote on. And then it came out later that one person generated all of those different letters and had them sent to the water board. Now, the water board is one of the most unsexiest positions. You think railroad isn't, we have boards for railroad, water, etc. Even though water, you can live without food, you cannot live without water. We should be paying attention to our water boards, but people don't talk about the water boards often, right? But that actually happened. And when you mentioned that about public comment, the power of public comment, this one person generated 20,000 letters, had them sent to the water board, and they changed their actions and what they were going to do.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it matters. The power of public comment. Let's not underestimate that, folks.
The other side understands that. They understand that every single time, which is why we have less traffic lanes and more bike lanes, which is why we don't have plastic bags anymore, which is why, because they understand how the system works, how you have to lobby, how you have to show up and scream and shout to get what you want. The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right. And understand, without saying it, folks, who the other side is, read between the lines. She's not talking
actually,
about
the other side is us too. It's us too. It's not just the other side, meaning the other side of the aisle. It's also people on your same side of the aisle who are a little more well-to-do than you are.
No, I was just saying more so of this.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
This is what I was talking about.
Yes, they are those people.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, you're right. My bad. You're exactly
other side.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
They get it. Okay.
They took civics. They get it.
Those are the people too that Tawanda's talking about in the work environment.
Tawanda has the most interesting story. She has a really good story today too that's coming out. You're gonna love it, Neil. She had an interesting situation happen on the freeway. Yeah.
Okay, you guys. So follow Tawanda so you can find out. And then Let's Jam says, look at that junk mail. Yeah, sometimes the junk mail is important. Sometimes, every once a week, you should just breeze through and see what you missed.
Oh, I look at my junk mail because I want my coupons. I have soared into the age and the financial situation where I even want to look at my coupons. I want to know, I got my Bath and Body coupon. I got my Ulta coupons. I got my Ralph's coupons. Like, right. I get it. I understand why grandma was clipping them coupons. I understand when roast beef is $16, when chicken is $20.
Right. No, let me tell you, I have downloaded the apps for all of my grocery stores. And when I go on the stores and I see a digital coupon,
clip.
Where bacon that is $7 and it says digital coupon $2. Boop, put it right in my thing. Clip.
That's right.
When I get to the register. So yeah, you guys download your grocery store apps. Pay attention to those digital coupons because sometimes those are the only way you're going to get the extra discount. But you have to have the app. They're forcing you to download the app.
Yeah.
To participate, but it is definitely worth it.
I agree with you 100%. And now going back to the junk mail thing, also just remember, I don't care where you live. We're in full election season. So I've already gotten political mail. And sometimes we also have a habit of throwing away political mail. Don't get me started on that because the cost behind that mail is astronomical. It is a dying way to reach voters just because of the way that we've moved more into the digital realm of things. But high propensity voters, those voters you can count on every time, are like our parents' generation, not even our generation, our parents' generation, and those left from our grandparents. They want some mail. They want some mail in that mailbox. So you still get it. I think 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I think most of our political communication is going to come in the form of, and I hate to say this because we get too many now, and I'm guilty because this is my job, text messages and email. But we're going to be, if you know, you're going to get political mail. You might look at it as junk mail. You should be paying attention to that too.
Yeah, for sure. Because it could be something as simple as something to do with your water, okay? And you missed out on it, or your trash. Because I know my trash is expensive too. But let's jump into the news. We could talk about that a lot more, but there's a lot happening in our country. But first, of course, we want to start with our morning poll. Of course, the State of the Union is tonight, and we're going to get into that conversation as well. So chat, get ready. But our poll this morning is a new poll shows only 48% of Black Americans are feeling the State of the Union right now.
That many? That many?
Well, that's what this particular poll says.
Well, whose poll is that?
Okay, Jasmine.
I'm sorry. And I'm like, that many?
48% of Black Americans are I should have said are not feeling the State of the Union right now.
Are not.
Are not. I'm sorry.
That's not enough.
Right. So we want to know, chat, how are you feeling heading into tonight's address? Is it A, optimistic? Is it B, skeptical? Is it C, concerned? Or is it D, are you tuned out? We usually have our poll up. I don't know where it is, Greer. But how are you guys feeling about the poll, about the State of the Union tonight? Is it A, optimistic, B, skeptical, C, concerned, or D, turned out? Drop it in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling about tonight's State of the Union. Jasmine, we got a D for tuned out. Jasmine, how are you feeling about it tonight?
Look, I wrote an op-ed last week where I talked about how Democrats in DC do not need to show up to the State of the Union. I mean, if your neighbor who called the police on you simply for existing invited you to hear their HOA speech, would you show up? No, you would not. It is a choice. And as of now, you cannot be disappeared or arrested for not attending the State of the Union. I would never show up to something where I know I'm going to be antagonized, talked about, made fun of. And quite frankly, as a Democrat, as a delegate in the party, I feel that it would be a stronger message to Democrats across the country if you didn't show up, if Democrats didn't show up. We don't need coordinated suit moments, little pens, little signs you hold up.
Or all white, showing up in all white.
Right. The only thing that hurts a narcissist is their audience not being there. So if he looks to that side of the aisle and there is no one there and he can only talk to his circus, then that's going to hurt him because he gets pleasure off of talking about. Look, think about all the people he made fun of last year, who he said horrible things about in the State of the Union, right to their faces, right? And so I'm going to watch because I volunteer for my community. I'm gonna watch and see.
So now, are you doing any networks? Because I know for local, I think it was a mayor's or some type of candidates forum. You did Fox.
The governors. I did the governors.
So are you doing something tonight?
Not that I know of, but you know how LA media rolls. So it could be an hour from now, and I get a call and say, "Hey, can you come in and do it tonight?" Right. I will definitely have a lot to say. But I'm hopeful that folks don't show up. I hear this excuse, well, someone needs to be in the room. No one needs to be in the room. Absolutely not.
I agree.
You can listen to it. You can stream it. There are so many other ways if you just want to know what he said. So Democrats need to show us that they have a spine and their egos aren't so big that they feel like they have to be on TV tonight, so they have to show up. Don't show up to that room. There's no good reason to show up to the State of the Union tonight.
Well, it seems like the chat overwhelmingly is saying D. They're going to tune out, except, of course, one of our faithful Trump supporters. He says he's feeling optimistic.
One of those. Okay.
But so
right.
let's talk about it. So some Democrats plan to deliver direct addresses or attend counter rallies. I love that. I remember one year, I think it was Trump's first year, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, I happened to be in DC. She was the chair of the Finance Committee at the time. And so she held her own viewing for Black journalists, and we were all there and listening to her. So I like the counter rally approach. Some will likely skip the speech altogether, and some might attend and cause distractions, defying House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries' warning against disruptions. So to your point, I think that though the different approaches doesn't send a message like a unified message would send, to your point about not attending. You know, I think that's the message that unified Democrats should send in unity, because we're talking about a midterm. And the Democrats just don't seem to be strong enough during this midterm election. I mean, I think they should have commercials rolling back to back right now today, talking about what's at stake in the State of the Union, from on your local networks and on national networks across the board, on CNN, on Fox. To me, that's what the Democratic Party should be doing right now, but yet they're going to be divided with their own tactics on how they're going to respond to Donald Trump tonight. It's wild.
I have a lot of thoughts on the Democratic Party. I wrote an op-ed. I have not published it because I'm weighing not the consequences, but what I may have to deal with if I publish it, about how the behavior of the Democrats in Washington, D.C. Affects the endorsements of local and state Democrats. For example, why would I ever vote for someone the Democratic Party, and I'm a delegate, why would I ever vote for someone the Democratic Party told me to, if my example is the spineless people in Washington, D.C. who keep caving, right? And this past weekend, California had its state convention, and no endorsement for governor, no endorsement for a lot of key positions. The Democrats are undecided. They're all over the place. For me, I think the strongest message the Democrats could send is to put out a statement saying we are not coming, and to then not come. But there are too many. Right. There are too many egos at play. People want their TV time. People want to do all these different things. At the end of the day, like I said, we don't need another coordinated suit moment. We don't need little matching pins and little matching signs. We, as in the rest of us, the Democrats, we need to see that our leadership can say no to this man and to starve him of the attention that he wants. Right. If you don't watch at home, all you deers in the group chat that are like tuned out, Trump does not care if you don't watch him at home, but he does care when he wants to give a great speech and talk about people and make fun of people, and they are not sitting there in front of him, giving him the absolute joy that he derives from doing that sort of stuff. And so it's just a shame that we don't have the type of leadership in Washington, D.C. that can get the majority of the members to just say, we're not going to do it. We're not going to show up. We already know what the State of the Union is. I don't want to say it, but it starts with the F word. We know what the State of the Union is already. We do. There's nothing he's going to say. Count how many times he says, I did, it's the greatest, it's never happened. That he says that tonight, because the State of the Union is really about the state of Trump. Right. At least in his head. You understand what I'm saying? It's not the speech that it was when you and I were growing up, Niall. It's not that type of event anymore for politics. It's not.
And I also think that it does two things. If the Democrats were to not attend, it shows unity, but it also puts the focus on the Republicans in the room. because we know that they're going to cheer for every lie and disenfranchisement that they're trying to do. And so if you put that on display, then it shows the American people as well who they need to get out of office. I mean, it does multiple things strategically for the midterms and for the Democrats to be unified. So, I mean, it just makes no sense that they're going, and I don't think they're listening to their constituents, because, I mean, the chat is clearly saying they're not going to watch. So that means that the constituents are tuned out to this administration. And so you're going to go there and pretend like, you know, it's business as usual, and it is not. This is not a George W. Bush presidency, okay? This is not business as usual.
It's not even a Biden presidency. It's not. And remember, the first 10 minutes of the State of the Union are going to be the pomp and circumstance, up and down, clap, 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 clap. Nobody got time for all that.
Yeah, let them do that. Let the Republicans
let them, you know, it's gonna, you know, that I may have to repost a meme I posted before about the Turning Point USA halftime show. I may have to repost that same meme with them KKK people and put the Republican caucus tonight at the State of the Union. But look, at the end of the day, the Democrats need to stay away. We know that they are unable to do that. Many of them have egos that are just too big. They just want to be on TV. They just want to be seen. Everybody wants to have their moment. And let us not forget what happened last year at the State of the Union and how the Democrats reacted to, what was it? Who was it? Al Green? It was Al Green, right?
Yeah, and he got put out.
Exactly.
He got put out. And they should have the guts that the women's hockey team, who just won the gold. Congratulations to the U.S. women's hockey team. They declined an invitation. The White House reached out to them to attend, and they declined. We need to have more Democrat leadership do the same.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Now let's head to our next story. This is a story that comes from our state. It is trending. I just posed a question yesterday. How do Democrats and elected feel about this video that's going around of Gavin Newsom? It just has Black social media in uproar. Greer, let's take a look at it and show.
On the other side, you know, I don't want to dream of regretting anymore. No coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's all out there. I just want to put it all out there. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. And, you know, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, you know, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in. You know, my dyslexia, I haven't overcome dyslexia. I'm living with it. You know, I was the guy in the back of the classroom and my head down, just praying the teacher didn't call on me. I went through, I mean, I think I lost count of how many schools I had to go to. I'm on the other side. You know, I don't want to dream of regretting anymore. No coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's all out there. I just want to put it all out there. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you.
So, I mean, there's this uproar of, you know, and most of it came from dedicated Democrats about he didn't mean this and he didn't mean that. And I understand what they're saying, but I also posed the question, Jasmine, if he would have been talking to a white man, because when we first see it, it's like he's talking to a black man and he's saying that, you know, he's talking about low education skills, his IQ. So if he would have been talking to a white man, do you think that Black social media would have responded the way that it did? That they're blaming it on Republicans. They're saying that Republicans put this out there and they're just trying to mess with the frequency. But was it an insult?
Okay, so let me say a couple of things. First of all, relatability has an expiration date. Second of all, you know, relatability isn't about confessing that you had a 960 SAT score. It's about understanding why folks who have 1400s, 1100s, and 800s still can't afford rent. So let's be really, really clear. There is nothing Gavin Newsom can say to most of us that makes us relate to him. Like he's all of a sudden more relatable. And for folks who know how to do more than just watch what's happening on social media, Google what a 960 back in, let's say, 1980 or I think in the 80s or whatever, maybe the 70s. Google what if that was considered a high score or not, right? You should, a lot of times we just go with what we see on social media. We don't even do our own research. I also want to say, just go ahead and say you're running for president. I cannot trust anybody who continues to gaslight me like the current president. You are clearly running for president. You are on a book tour, which is still the way that most candidates for president launch their campaign, right? Is they go around on a book tour. Everyone does it. And I can't get over that, right? So I hear what you're saying, but I just want to make that clear. Like, I still look at this dude and I'm like, well, you're still gaslighting Democrats because you can't even say with your chest that you're actually running for president when we can see what's actually going on. There's this performance that comes from candidates, and the candidates I work with, I try to get them not to do this because, you're not relatable. You have chauffeurs, you have bodyguards, you haven't been poor in over 40, 50 years, okay? You are not relatable. So there was this one argument, which is like, oh, he wasn't talking about Black people because there weren't Black people in the room. I don't care who he was. I don't care. First of all, he should have been advised just not to even say anything like that, because just from a political strategist point of view, that wasn't going to land well. The point for me is politicians trying to be relatable when they are not. You cannot relate to the cost of rent. You cannot relate to the cost of living. You don't check grocery receipts twice. You probably don't even do your own grocery shopping. Let's be clear.
Right. You probably don't even have the app on your phone to get your digital coupons.
Exactly. So it's just, it's that Americans and American voters need to, we say one thing online, we do a completely different thing when we get into the voting booth. But this whole idea of candidates trying to be relatable by telling these stories from, 40, 50 years ago, it's like, get out of here.
Right. And I also think too, like a lot of the Black, insiders, Democrats that, support staffers, that support candidates and that are a part of the DNC and their delegates. And, they were quick to, protect him. And I'm like, being from California, it's like he knows how to split words and talk to white folks and Black folks at the same time. So he thinks, right? And so for him to say it to me, it was like he was talking to a Black man.
Exactly.
So you were talking to a Black man. So if 60% of the room was white folks and 40% were Black, well, then it's 50-50 now, because the person he's talking to directly across from him is a Black man. So I think that is what people picked up on, and that's what people ran with me, because I didn't know the makeup of the room. All I saw was who he was talking to.
All you saw was who he was talking to. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me who is in the room. The bottom line is you are not relatable, sir. And you need to come up with another way to connect with voters on a more realistic, using more realistic language and examples than you didn't have a hard upbringing. You wasn't in the fields picking cotton. Your parents wasn't in prison. You had a very charmed and privileged life that you continue to live right now. And voters need to think about that when candidates try to quote unquote, dumb themselves down to be relatable to you. It's like, come on, sir. I mean, really? So, again, people outside of California have one way of looking at Gavin. Those of us who have lived under Gavin have a completely different way of looking at him, particularly as it relates to Black women and promises that he made. as
he did keep
it relates
okay.
to reparations.
Come on.
Okay,
let's
like,
don't tell me.
Clear.
Don't tell me about
he is
Gavin.
not my white savior.
He's
Is not the white savior, and he doesn't look good for a white. If I hear another black woman, he's so sexy. His hair is so.
You know, wait. I thought I was thinking more about reparations and how he played us on that, how he played both sides on that. I forgot that we were standing out when we were in front of what building were we in front of, and we were saying we want a black woman to fill Kamala Harris's seat, and he totally ignored it. Totally ignored black women. So yeah,
he talked out of both sides of his mouth on that, and then did what he wanted to do. And so to me, Gavin has never been a friend to black folks, although I can't. Again, you have to understand both sides are a cult. And yes, I belong to the Democratic Party and I'm a delegate, but I call it like I see it. And I do not go along with the talking points. So I was not one of the Democrats that read the talking points and then got online and said, Gavin is the greatest. Gavin didn't mean it. I know you can never get me to do that. But a lot of Democrats did do that.
Oh my God, you should see. You should see my Facebook. I mean, they are really sis, let me just sit. And I'm like, let me just say this. And then it's so funny because we had Reverend Mark Thompson on yesterday, and we were talking about the mayor of Atlanta, who was Mayor Dickens, who was the moderator. And we were talking about, and he yesterday was defending them. And then it was like, but you building Cop City. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, can we even trust you? You know, you're building a place for Israelis to come and teach police officers how to attack the public. So you get out of here too. I want to head over to the chat. Michael Carter says a 960 in the 80s and 90s was considered a good score. Max was 1600 at the time. Now the new max is 2400. So not the same in comparison. Confirming what you said. Yeah. You're getting some hand claps, some periods. Dr. Marilyn said, we know white people are not smarter than us. Duh. We know it's their privilege that gets them to where they are. Let one of them talk about that. Megan says, Gavin is no friend to black folks. And I think that is the sentiment for my question. How do you feel about this, Democrats and public officials? And the establishment kind of attacked me. And I was like, first of all, I posed a question. Okay, it was a question. So, you know, we have some, you know, from the State of the Union tonight, you know, and some of us docile Negroes, meek and mild, like Langston Hughes said, God forbid the day we change our mind. And then this Gavin Newsom thing, because we think that he's the only hope we have to defeat Trump. And I don't believe that. Do you believe that Gavin Newsom is what we need to defeat Trump?
Oh, I don't believe he's what we need to defeat Trump. I do believe it may come down to that because so many people are in now. I don't know what it is about these slick white dudes that black people, white people, they fall into some sort of trance. I see it here all the time. Like people looking at him like he's Mr. McDreamy or some crap. And I'm like,
that hair is too slick for me.
I don't think so. But it may come down to it. He may get my vote just in that way, just because it may come down to it. But it wouldn't be because I think that we need him. I think that the Democratic Party has not coalesced around anyone. I think that folks are charting their own path. Gavin started running for president, I would say probably 4 or 5 years ago. For those of us in California, we know this to be the fact and true. Folks outside of California may not understand that. Right. He's been running for president quite some time, laying the groundwork. And as we inch closer and closer to 2028, we'll see other people doing it. But he's definitely got a head start on folks. And so the Democratic Party may just go ahead and line up behind him because he is forcing it. At this point, he's like, okay, well, you all aren't making decisions and, you know, bringing us viable. I don't even want to use the word viable, but putting candidates forth. I'm going to put myself out there. So that's what he's doing. And he has the money to do it. He's running for president as governor.
There you have it. All right, let's talk about another trending topic that people are still talking about. The BBC has issued an apology after airing a man shouting the N-word to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. The gentleman's name is James Davis, and I think they say he had Tourette's or something. Let's play the sock. Do we have the sock, Greer? If we don't, it's fine. But I think everybody's seen it by now. The man yelling, but I think that the story that's not getting added to that is Sinner's production designer Hannah Belcher says the N-word was shouted 3 times, not just that one time, and one of the 3 times was directed at her on her way to a dinner after the show. And so we see that this just wasn't a one-off. And then yesterday also the video started trending when Delroy was on the news show, and the man asked him a question about the N-word, and he said, just say it. And then you have somebody at the BBC yell it. So what's your response to all of it?
I struggle with the N-word because I don't like it. I didn't grow up with it. And I look at Billboard's top rap charts, and every single song uses it. Put on Jill Scott, thinking, oh my God, I'm so excited for this new album. She's saying it too. Listen to Beyonce, she's saying it too. So I give a little side eye to Black people who get upset now, when other people use the N-word, because I'm like, so is it okay in a greeting? Is it okay to replace the Mr. or the Mrs. before someone's name? I'm just trying to figure out where it's actually appropriate and it's not, because at this point I see white people using it, Asian folks using it, Latinos using it. Everyone uses the word. There's nothing you can say to me that will make me change my mind about the ER and the A. It is the same exact word. Okay. So
what about Negro? What about Negro?
Negro is not the same word as the N-word. Negro, because clearly I said Negro. I don't feel comfortable even saying the N-word, right? Like I said, I didn't grow up in a family that even used that type of language. But I just look at all the people who are just filthy rich at this point, the record executives, everyone who profits off of the N-word, and we make that happen by our streams, our support of these artists and everything, but then we won't get upset in other certain situations. So that's like my first thought, right? And I don't really struggle with that. I'm pretty clear that's where I'm at. I just get frustrated with Black folks on it, right? Granted, I understand that what we're talking about initially is the BAFTAs, which are not even here in America, right? They're in the UK. And then I guess I would just say, there's a young lady that I've caught a few times who has a really big following on social media who has Tourette's, and she's a Black, young Black, like Gen Z or something. Don't ask me how she ended up on my algorithm, but she constantly uses the N-word and all kinds of other horrible words in her having Tourette's. Like she'll be in a mid-sentence and then say F you N-word or whatever it is, right? So for me, I'm like, if that's your default, right? If your default is the N-word, I think that's probably something that he says or uses, right? Because I just don't see that as being just something that you just happen to, I don't know, blurt out. There's many things that I can accidentally say, and that would never be one of them.
Nigga 11 says Tourette's my ass.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's but I just think for Black folks here in the US, I won't even focus on the UK, we are some hypocritical people, because like I said,
so your point is, how you gonna get mad at him?
Yeah,
we use the word, all
we have made white people rich off of using the word. There's an artist on tour right now. Every other word out her mouth is the N-word. Okay, she's
about
top of the charts. I love her, but
Cardi B.
Yeah, Cardi B. I love Cardi too. I was Team Nicki, but Nicki done lost her mind. And then this last album Cardi B put out was fire. But let's be clear, so I just can't with the hypocrisy from my own people when it comes to this word. I'm not gonna no one's gonna get me to like, change my mind. The hypocrisy is astounding when it comes to the N-word. Like I said, we've paid for whole entire generations to go to college. These folks have made so much money off of us using the N-word, and then we want to clutch pearls in situations like this.
Okay, so let's go to the chat because they're chiming in. Mike V says, my concern isn't the N-word. My concern is the harm being committed that will be justified because of neurological challenges. Lady Leo says, it's 2026. I think it's Black people. We really need to make a conscious effort to stop using that word. And Orange G says, like Dave Chappelle said, he can't say the F word when it comes to gays, but he can say the N-word unlimited times.
That is exactly right. And I get in trouble sometimes on social media when I talk about this, but I'm always like, hey, point to me on any musical chart, let it be Spotify, Billboard, whatever, Apple Music, where you have an artist who is using Jewish slurs or using slurs to refer to Asian folks or Latinos. Nope. Okay, it's just the N-word and Black women, words that are traditionally identified with derogatory terms that have been traditionally identified with Black women. Those are the two that are always okay and make the most money for folks. But those same record executives would never allow an artist to do any type of record that dehumanized or was derogatory toward the Jewish community. They would never allow it. It would never get off the ground. It just wouldn't happen. But it is okay to do that with the N-word. And I don't like that. And Dave Chappelle is exactly right. You cannot say anything bad about the trans community, the gay community. You cannot use certain words, right? But it is okay to use the N-word. It's everywhere, even in places I don't expect it and I don't want it, even from artists that I'm like, why? Like, the song was beautiful without you even adding that in there.
And by the way, I still love that Jill Scott album slaps every time. It's in daily rotation. Michael Carter says, I definitely believe it was more than Tourette's syndrome. That was just in him. He didn't say it when the other ethnicities were on stage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in his consciousness, that's what he was probably thinking when he was looking at what he was looking at, and then it came out of his mouth because he has Tourette. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't believe that was just some in it, because there are so many words that could come out of my mouth, accidentally, because what I'm thinking in my head, I might accidentally say it, but that word would never be one of them. It just wouldn't, because it's not a part of my vocabulary. It's not part of my thinking.
All right. So Dr. Marilyn says, never will you ever hear this coming from other cultures.
Absolutely right.
Mike V says, we saw that with Kyrie Irving having to apologize for something he never said that was posted on Amazon. So, I mean, Chad, let us know, is it time to get rid of the N-word totally? Or are there some cases where it's justified to use the word? I mean, it's your opinion. Put it in the chat. We got to move on because we're coming close to the top of the hour. So since we're talking about hip hop, the N-word, and what we can say and what we can't say, let's talk about 50 Cent and T.I. And has this escalated beyond the lyrics and rap battles? So we know that T.I. challenged 50 Cent to a rap battle. Instead of 50 Cent just declining, he went on a social media tyrant. He's a social media tyrant, so he went on posting things, and then he posted T.I.'s wife, which ignited the little son King to engage and talk about his mom, 50 Cent's mom. And so what is your thoughts about this whole 50 Cent T.I. and family business that's happening right now, Jasmine?
The same thoughts I had about Nicki and Cardi and Kanye and Drake. I tend to not worry about rich people's problems and what they do in their time of boredom. Honestly, there's too many problems going on in this world. That is the least thing that I care. I could care less about T.I. and 50 Cent going back and forth. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. Are you trying to get your streaming numbers up? Are you trying to be relevant? Are you just trying to give, TMZ and All Hip Hop and all these different places something to write about? I don't know. But I guess, I don't know. For me, I don't care. I just don't care.
I think, well, I mean, from a hip hop lover, and from T.I.'s perspective, him just challenging him to a versus. Now we know versus was a cultural phenomenon during COVID, right? And so we've seen a couple of more since then that we've loved. And so T.I. challenged them, and 50 took it to the next level. Which was outside the realms of hip hop. He took it to a personal, his traditional, just always in somebody's business and posting memes. And so, I mean, and T.I. responded yesterday with the music, not with the battle of social media, but with the music. And so I think this is more a question. Look at you. I think this is more a question of 50 Cent's character than it is T.I. And I mean, and a lot of people are saying right now, like 50 might have canceled itself with this whole situation. So
I don't really care, but let me tell you this: it would not be a far stretch for me to believe that they agreed to have some sort of public spat on social media to get things going, and then voila, we have our verses, and now everybody's tuned in and watching because they had this whole big fight on social media, because this is how publicists and folks work these days. Everything has to be a thing on social media, and then we eat it up and follow it and start talking about it, which is exactly what they want us to do the whole time. The two people involved probably don't even know what is being said, because a lot of times
I don't think this is the case. I don't know.
But it's not that far-fetched of an idea.
I don't think this is that.
I guess I'll go back to my original point, which is
a lot of people are sick and tired of 50 Cent in his mouth. But the chat is
not really, because they keep talking about him and they keep following him. And when you're sick and tired of somebody, you don't follow them. You don't talk about what they're doing. You block them. You pay them no attention. So they can't be too sick and tired.
Wait, so Michael Carter is saying we got more going on right now than this. LOL. Mike V said, if you insult my wife, I have no words for you, only these hands. One Spear says T.I.'s new song is a bop. Totally agree, love it, especially from the Gen X, generation.
Absolutely.
That is a bop.
Yeah.
Moonlight Congress says your main for show. They don't want us up in here, man. Okay, I love the Ebonics. Publicity makes money, and Moonlight Congress says 100 for show. 50 real quiet on this one, though. He is very quiet. He don't know how to respond. And the way they dragging him for not having no family is just gold to me. It's
I saw that. I mean, yeah, no, it hasn't been funny. Absolutely. It has been funny. It has not risen to the level that I care to share a post about it, but I get a lot of humor in the mornings when I scroll social media and I see some of the things that have transpired and the things that people are saying. But for me, generally, as a rule, I don't care what rich people are doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is not just
the ones out of office.
This is hip hop. Okay, this is
but they're both very wealthy folks who, if they never did another post, if they never made another song, they would be okay. So Americans, much like the British, are fascinated with celebrities and fascinated with being in people's business.
This is not that, Jasmine. This is hip hop. Okay, this is like the art, the essence. This is like we want that Drake and Kendrick. This is what we're looking for. And 50 is scared. I think that's what's happening right now. Okay. That's what we're into. The hip hop aspect of it, the culture. And then Mike V says Tawanda versus 50 Cent.
Oh, if it's Tawanda versus 50 Cent, Tawanda is definitely going to win. She's definitely going to win. I mean, Tawanda she told me about it anyway.
Tawanda has to respond to the battle.
I just said Tawanda would win. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Y'all don't want to see Tawanda like that. I mean, she already got in trouble for throwing her shoe at Pam Bondi last week. She is, She puts hands on people and with no problem. Yeah.
All right. I want to definitely wanted to talk to you about this. More Black American women are leaving the U.S. for good reason. Black women are choosing peace over patriotism. Now, Black women are leaving the United States in search of safety and a better quality of life. For many of them, it's a response to living in a country right now that they say has often failed to protect them. And I have two friends. One, she just left and she's in South Africa now, just living her best life. She's like, I'm not coming back. Then I have another friend that I went to college with. She left in like 2019 before all of this. And she's been in South Africa since then and just has created a wonderful life for herself. And so now she's like, I'm glad I did it when I did, because I wouldn't want to be in the United States right now. So how do you feel about this new move with Black women choosing peace over patriotism?
Well, I don't think we're ever that patriotic to begin with. So I don't know if it's peace over patriotism or just, peace over being, in a country that has constantly disrespected us from the minute the first one of us got off the slave ship over here. Okay. My cousin's doing the same thing. I have a cousin right now who's just spent 2 months in Europe looking at places to move to. I have a lot of folks as well, Neil, that are doing that. And that's great for those folks who are in a position to be able to make that happen, right? As we know, that's not the reality for most of us. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I will say is as we get older, and I'm a proud Gen Xer, and as we get older, we prioritize our peace over absolutely everything. I will stare out my front window with the phone in my hand and tell you I am not at home. With no problem.
Right.
We prioritize our rest, our peace, our, all of those things are so important to us. So if it takes moving out of the country to get that, we will absolutely do that. And the thing about our generation versus our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation is that we are more in a position to be able to do that than they were. So yeah, I'm not surprised that we're seeing a lot of that happening, because particularly older Gen Xers who are more nearer the retirement age, who are thinking about how they want to spend the rest of their lives. Yeah. And a lot of people that I know have chosen to go to Ghana, also South Africa, places in Latin America, just because, one, Black women are very much respected in other parts of this world. This country has a problem with Black women, but there are many places where we are just worshipped, and women are choosing to go there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I think this country has a problem with Black women and Black men, just Black folks in general. But the chat is saying, Michael Carter saying, laughing my ass off, Gen X for rest and relaxation, hands up high. And then One Spirit says, when I went to Africa in 2010, I didn't want to come back. Most Black women in this country don't have the opportunities to make their own peace. That's a good point too. But yeah, I mean, the chat will tell you, I talk about it all the time. If I could pack up and go right now, it's hard because I have my family, but you can always come back home. But especially in the state of our nation, I think a lot of Black women are on that eat, pray, love. Like, let me just be. And a lot of Black people right now, are not at the forefront of this resistance for Donald Trump. We're finding a way to do it on our own, but it's like somebody else, let them fight that fight. If we tired. The ancestors said, be still.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, for Gen Xers, I think that's true. I think younger generations are not yet in that position to be able to do that. I think all of us, no matter what our generation is, we should have a to-go bag and be ready to go with a passport that is valid, because at the rate things are going in this country, and it sounds funny, but it's really not. We may have to get up and go. You may have to get up and leave your family just to save yourself with the way things are going these days, right? So that is my plug for all of you folks watching who don't have a valid passport. Why they're still being accepted and used, you should try and get one.
Could you just pack up and leave if you could?
Oh, I can do it.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you could, like right now, if you just, would you leave, or do you feel like, because you do a lot of work for our community, and so do you feel like you're needed here, or if you had the opportunity to leave, and you, like you said, you could leave, but I mean, like, really, like, you know, just go and not come back, would you do it? Or do you? I'm not going to
willingly choose to leave my community, but you know, if I know that they're finally coming for me for all those anti-Trump posts and my door's about to get kicked in, I have no problems jumping out the window, grabbing my to-go bag, and y'all will not see me until I get to Cuba or wherever it is I am going to be safe. So I can do it. I choose not to because I'm a fighter and I want to be here in my community. I think about that every day, Nia, with the cost of living in Los Angeles, how they trying to push us out. And it's my personal battle to make sure I stay here. This Black person is not leaving. Like, you're not going to push me out of my community. I want to be here with my. But if I had to do it, I think we all could do it if we had to do it. And, you know, again, I think that the way things are going in this world, there are things we may have to do in the future that are going to be uncomfortable, just in order for self-preservation to save ourselves.
All right, there you have it, folks. Let's get our Black history facts before we get out of here. This is a fun one. I don't know if she's ever used the N-word, and I'm talking about Lauryn Hill. In 1999, Lauryn Hill's Grammy sweep. Lauryn made history at the 41st Annual Grammy Awards, winning 5 awards, the most in one night by a female artist at that time. I don't think Lauryn Hill has ever used the N-word in her music. Can you recall? I don't think she has.
I cannot recall. And my favorite album of hers is the MTV Unplugged.
Oh, really? Not the Miseducation. Well, that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is mine. I mean, it's just
no. It was when she did the one that a lot of people were like, we want old Lauryn Hill, and
that was me.
Yeah, no. That was my favorite. It still is my favorite from her. But no, I don't think she has. But also think about when she was at the height of her career. It wasn't the norm and accepted the way it is today. Right? True. You still got in trouble for using it back then.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. And today we also want to remember our hidden figure. In 2020, Katherine Johnson passed away. And if you recall, she's the pioneering NASA mathematician whose trajectory and calculations were critical to the success of the U.S. manned space flights. So she passed away on today. And of course, that fabulous movie, Hidden Figures, with Taraji P. Henson, Janelle Monáe, and I think Octavia Spencer? I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
But I remember Taraji P. Henson. She played Katherine Johnson in Hidden Figures. So we have a few more days left for Black History, so that might be a good one to watch. Jasmine, want to thank you for joining us today. If you guys don't know, Jasmine is a contributor to one of our Black newspapers, the Los Angeles Sentinel, where you might find an op-ed in there for her. Do you do Our Weekly and
I'm in a lot of papers around the country, but just, I'm on Substack. If you put my name in, my website will come up, iamjasmyne.com. I'm pretty easy to find and to follow online, not in person.
All right. So we definitely would love to have some of your op-eds on the Black Press Wire for a lot of our other Black newspapers to pick up as well, too. So consider that.
You actually did. You ran one of them last week, the one I wrote about the resistance needs rent money. I saw that you all have picked that one up.
See? All right. That's Greer. Greer loves your work, too.
Greer did.
All right, you guys. So you can go check out that op-ed at blackpressusa.com. And for the latest in Black news and headlines from all of the Black newspapers across the country, you know what to do. blackpressusa.com. Thanks for joining us, Jasmine. And maybe we can get you back in a couple months. We'll give you the rest. All right, bye, y'all. See you tomorrow.